Welcome to The Real. Happy Friday, ladies. You all ready for some girl chat?
Yes!
I'm feeling it. Okay.
Estoy lista.
All right. Let's begin then. So we got to talk about this debate that's brewing on Twitter, right? It started when this woman tweeted out a picture of a man's proposal being rejected, and she said, quote, "Accept the ring and return it later. Don't embarrass someone's son in public. Matter settled." However, not everybody agreed with Mitski, who put the blame on the man, saying, quote, "Men be like, we aren't manipulative, then put women in situations where they're coerced to give a yes. Public proposals are so popular because it puts women on the spot and gives men easy fallbacks because when they get rejected, everyone will get mad at the woman for rejecting him." Ladies, how do you feel about public proposals?
So I know what the right thing is to do. I just don't think I could do it. I believe that the right thing is to say no if you mean no, right? Like that's the right thing, the moral thing to do.
That's really honest,
If you mean
Adrienne.
no, say no, right? I couldn't do it. I know myself. I just don't. Because even if you're not in love with somebody, and even if you don't want to be that person's wife, I just wouldn't want to crush your feelings like that. I actually agree with the person who wrote this, and I know what I would do. I don't agree. I just know that I couldn't do it. So I would say yes, and then in private I'd be like, "Why you did that?"
I have a response to you, Adrienne, but I want to hear Garcelle first before I tell you what I think about what you said.
Okay, I feel a certain way about this. There's so much pressure on us women anyway, so now even with a damn engagement, the fact that you're asking me in public is if I say no, then I'm the bitch, I'm the B-girl, right? He gets all the sympathy, and I feel like that's not fair. So I would say no in person. I mean, I would say yes in person and then not hurt his feelings and tell him later. But I have a friend of mine, famous actress, who got engaged on the Jay Leno show. And let me tell you, I thought it was so romantic. He came out, he was on his knees, proposed right then and there. And then later on, when they were getting a divorce, I said, "My God, I remember your engagement. It was so romantic." And she goes, "That was more about him than it was about me. Like, he could have asked me at home, just the two of us." And then I thought, you know what? You're right. That was more about him.
I'm still trying to figure out who the actress was.
Shut up.
I knew it.
Let me go Google that.
She's about to Google it.
Jeannie, what's up?
Okay, so I'm going to say...
What are your thoughts?
I'm going to say this to Adrienne. I'm like you in that it sounds right in theory, but in person it's hard to do. And this happened to me. Because when I first got married, the truth is he proposed to me in front of my whole family. And we hadn't really talked about it at all, which is mistake number one, men. If you haven't talked to your woman about whether or not she would want to get married to you, you have no business asking the question, especially not in front of people, especially not in front of her family. So, Adrienne, the reason why I agree with you, but I would highly recommend and advise anybody else not to do that, is because once you say yes, you are then already in the whirlwind of congratulations. Oh my God, we're so excited for you.
Oh, I know.
Pictures, hugs, the calls start rolling in. It happens immediately. And the very second you say yes, after that, it gets worse to pull out. It actually gets worse because the guilt is compounded with everybody that knows about it.
Yeah, but you don't.
So my advice.
You don't want to save him the humiliation, though. You don't want to save him the humiliation of like saying no in front of his family. Wouldn't you just say yes and then later on go, you know what? I really don't think we're ready.
I'm coming from a personal place.
It's so hard.
You rather the Band-Aid come off early than come off when the wound is just like rich and thick and already just like too hard.
I mean,
to
that is the right thing to do. I just think it's so hard because
I found out who the person you was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, who? I want to know.
You were like
Angie
a detective girl.
Angie Harmon.
Is it Angie Harmon? Yeah, that's who it was. Okay.
Wait, what are you doing, Ronnie? Are you Googling?
God.
Are you on the Googs during our show?
Wow.
She's the worst.
Why can somebody tell me why
Y'all talking.
Why is Lonnie on this show when
like-
she really should be on TMZ? Can somebody tell me what she's doing here? She could be paid so much more running her
She's
own
investigating. But I have a question for Lonnie. I have a major question for Lonnie. You have said
God, here we
multiple
go.
times on this show and so many other shows that you would never want to get married. But God forbid, let's just say, hypothetically
Why?
speaking, if James, even after hearing, I do not want to get married, I do not want to get married, I do not, let's say just for some reason he has it in his heart that nah, she, you know, and I know there's so many ignorant people out
Look
there
at
who
her
actually
face.
believe,
Look at
who
her
actually
face while you
believe
say
that when
that.
you say that you don't mean it. It's kind of like when I said I didn't want a surprise party, Jeannie, and my husband threw me one anyway. There are people out there who really don't believe you, Lonnie, who believe, no, she just
I've
said
worked
that.
with
I want to
Lonnie
hear
for
what
7 years.
Jeannie. What you gotta say,
I've worked-
Jeannie?
Okay, I've worked with Lonnie for 7 years, so tell me if I'm right, Lonnie. I think that you majorly made the mature move to avoid this mishap by talking to James at some point in this time that you guys have been together to make it very clear that you don't want to get married, so that he doesn't mistake that that could be even cute. Am I right? Because you're really direct.
But, and that's my whole point, is I don't understand how these proposals are happening if you guys aren't talking about marriage in the first place. I'm not understanding that at all. James don't come up with no ring. He know not to be coming through here and with a no. That ain't cute. But it's communication.
But if he lost
That's
his
all I'm
whole
saying.
damn mind, and he did.
Listen, I'm new
if
to
he
this.
lost
Why
his
don't
whole
you wanna
damn
get
mind.
married? I
If
don't know the
someone
reason
took him
why.
aside and was like, "Yo, she really do want to get, she really do," and then he does it, do you,
know what?
embarrass him in front of the world, or do you
Adrian.
embarrass him privately?
No, you've known Lonnie, Adrian. Has there ever been a time where she's like
But
wavering on
would you
how she
embarrass
feels?
him privately or publicly?
This is the thing. I'm a comic, so I can make light of it, you know? But when it's really serious, then that's something different. And to answer your question, Garcelle, I'm going to move on to the next subject. I was reading an article. It's an article on She Knows, right? No, because I really want to get to this, and we ain't got a lot of time, okay? It was a recent article in She Knows, and it brings up the topic of mothers putting themselves first before their children. Now, the writer said that she
really moving
resented
on.
her kids.
She really did, Garcelle.
She resented her kids.
She really gonna act like it's just a normal thing.
Garcelle, you'll get used to
I
this,
tell
okay?
you, shameful.
But this is my question, because we have a lot of mothers watching, Garcelle, and this is a pandemic, and a lot of things are happening with mothers. Should mothers feel guilty if they're putting themselves first instead of their children? That's what I want to know.
The answer to that is no. We should put ourselves first. We should put ourselves first. When you're on an airplane, right? And there's an emergency, they say, put on your mask before you help someone else, right? If us as mothers don't help us out, we can't help our kids. And I feel like so many times people make you feel guilty if you put yourself first. And I'm not saying be selfish and ignore the kids altogether, but we have to take care of us. And even yesterday, I was in my feelings. My kids didn't want to hang out with me. And I'm like, come on, let's watch a movie. Let's go for a walk. Let's drive to the beach. And they were like, no, we just want to play with our friends, through video games. And I was really offended. I was like, I'm not just here to cook and clean.
Right.
Somebody play with me. Right? And so many times, though, we put them first. I remember when they have like late baseball games or football games, whatever. They had like a break and they said, we're really cold. In the back of the car, I had sweatshirts, I had, jackets, I had undershirts for them. I had nothing for me. And I was cold too. And it just goes to show you that sometimes we do a disservice to our kids and let them think that the world revolves around them, and it doesn't. I'll even tell you this, at Christmas time, when Santa buys presents for them, Santa buys presents for me too, because I want them to know that Santa loves me too. It might be a little more expensive than they would buy, but I'm
That's a
helping
good
Santa
concept.
out.
I
That's
just
true.
think in
Adrian,
general,
what you think?
You know, from the moment that there's a child in your body, I have always heard this from so many friends of mine that have been pregnant, even my sister, how important it was for her to be happy even when she had that baby in her body, because how she felt would ultimately affect how that baby felt on the inside. They say when a mother is stressed, the child inside of them feels that. That doesn't change when they come outside of your body. You know, even for myself, I grew up with a mom who was not happy. She was not in a happy marriage, and she always put me and my sister first. We were her entire life. I mean, literally to the point where I think she probably didn't have many friendships because everything was about me and Claudette. And I remember feeling that as a child, that I wanted my mom to be happy, that I would try to find ways as a kid. I want to make my mommy laugh. I want to make her happy because I knew she wasn't happy. I felt that and I knew that.
Wow.
So I always hear parents say, the number one thing parents say is, when you ask them, what do you want for your child? They always say, I just want my kid to be happy. All I want for my child is to be happy. But they have such a hard time leading by example. Are you happy?
Yes.
Do you make yourself
Yeah,
happy?
you know what? Yeah, you have to make yourself
And then they
happy. And
expect
also, you
children
also
to
have
do
to
it.
remember
It's hard.
that these kids are also going to go. They're going to go and start their own life. And then you don't want to be left like you don't know what to do. You've never taken care of yourself.
Absolutely.
So you have to remember you're also raising them to leave the house. You know, they're going to
Nobody's
go
saying
away
to
and
be
then you have to,
irresponsible
be stuck with
and
you.
not take care of
No.
your children, but ultimately they will find out how they should treat themselves, how they should value themselves by how you value yourself and how you treat yourself. So I think
Amen.
there's got to be
But
balance in
Amen.
everything.
And it's also about having strong villages around you. You know, I don't have children,
Yes.
but you know, if my girlfriends need me, I am there for them. If they need me to
Yes.
watch their little Rugrats for an
Yeah.
hour, just an hour.
Yeah.
Why they
That's
gotta
it.
be Rugrats,
I
Lonnie?
will
Because they are.
Some of them
little
are.
crumb snatchers. I will scoop them up. We're gonna go to this park. I can,
Yeah.
play with them, and then I bring them back for an hour. But that is my contribution.
When my kids were toddlers, sometimes I would turn on the shower in the bathroom and cry because I just felt overwhelmed
Real.
or tired. I didn't know how to handle it. But I would
Yes.
turn on the shower so they wouldn't hear me, and I would like bawl, and then I'd put it back together and I'd come out.
How did you get out of it,
So
though?
real. And I think we don't think enough about
What do you
our
mean?
mothers. Even as, like Lonnie said, we need to be the village for those moms out there. If you see a mom that's struggling, maybe offer like, hey, if I can help in any way, especially during these times, if there is a way that you can really help moms who at this point are staying at home with their children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes they need a break. And if you can be a part of that in some sort of way, try to lend a helping hand. Because moms are the real heroes out here. They the real MVPs, right?
They are, But Garcelle, just real quick, how did you get out of the situation? Like, you would cry. Was that just a release for you? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, sometimes it was just a release. Sometimes it was like, I'm tired, and they're both crying at the same time. And then, other times I would call a girlfriend and say, hey, can you come watch the boys just so I can take a nap? Or just I
take
can
a
go
shower.
outside for a walk, just to, take a bath, anything.
Yeah, I remember one Saturday, for summer, it was during the pandemic, it was maybe for about 2 months. I was actually spending like hours just, trying to help my girlfriends, even though we were socially distanced, because a lot of them are single and they just didn't have anybody. And I think it's so important, like Munchkin
moms.
said, and we're all saying, we need to help each other out. We are villages.
Yes.
And if people don't have people,
Yes.
let's help one another out, because the kids are important. You know what I mean? One day they're
Yeah,
going to grow up and they can help
absolutely.
take care of you,
Yeah. If Auntie Lonnie's booked, then you can call Cousin Jeannie. I'll give you my credit card.
Oh.